What's up? We got a good one for you today, folks. We got a really good one for you today. This is hot off the presses. I have been up all night testing, and your first thought might be, oh, let me guess. You're gonna show off this cool little glitch that lets you get 5 or 6 alphas in the center of Area 20 that you can easily shiny hunt using this bench right here to quickly, reset them, walk forward a little bit, bam, those are 5 new alphas. They could be shiny. And you know what? We could talk about that today, but you're going to see about 1,000 videos on that today. I heard about it in Discord last night. To my understanding, this has been out in the Spanish community for a little while. The threads on who discovered it, a little dicey because I do not speak Spanish and I don't know where it comes from, but we're not talking about this application of the glitch today. You're going to get unlimited tutorials on how to perform this glitch, and you know what? If you want to hunt, this pool of alphas for shinies, for competitive or whatever, that's all good. But my first thought when I saw this is, I wonder what else this can apply to. So this glitch is an extension of one that came out, like a little over a week ago, where you can duplicate shinies by moving the original spawn far enough away from its origin point and then knocking it out and then going back to the origin point after a save, and the shiny will duplicate and it'll be an exact clone, PID, IVs, nature, all that good stuff, which I really wouldn't recommend doing. It's not super useful because home has clone detection built in, and now that this is out and about, people are going to know about it. But shout out Poppin_9, the Japanese gamer that posted this. That's the first time I saw it. And this glitch, like the shiny duplication glitch, works on a lot of the same principles. It's all about luring the alphas in the center far enough away from their spawners such that you're allowed to keep the spawns that you lured away and also spawn in new ones. When it's a shiny, it spawns in a clone because of the shiny saving mechanic. But with these alphas, once you've lured enough of them far enough away from their spawner and then get knocked out like this, then once you load back in, head down here, you're going to have a whole new crop of either 5 or 6, depending on how many you get and how big they are and what spawners they're from, and a bunch of other factors that aren't super well understood as of yet. And I'm sure a lot of people will be digging into it, and that's all well and good, but Papa Jefe stays one step ahead of the game. Today, we're going to use the principles behind this glitch to do something a little more interesting. If you've been hunting shiny Charmander, shiny alpha Charmander, you're not going to get him in the middle. No. You're only going to get him over on this side. And you'll see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 potential spawns that could all be Charmander. If you've been doing this yourself, you know that that's normally only 2. And most of the time, it's 2 hippos or a Lucario hippo. And if you're a Tepig fan, this is great for Tepig as well. So every time that we do this reset, we are getting 7 checks on Charmander. Now, is this AFKable? Well, it seems to be that no, not nearly as much as the alphas, because there is no bench within the radius, nor is there a good fly point within the radius. In fact, if you try to do fly spam to, say, Centrico Plaza for these, let me go spawn them in again real quick. We'll just run over. And these will be different compared to last time. So what I've been doing is soft resetting for these. So you make that save there at the bench after re-rolling them once, and then you save at the bench, and then you run over, and these will be different every time because you're far enough away. But if I were to do fast travel spam to Centrico Plaza, something kind of weird happens that I don't know if this happens with the alphas in the middle. It might not. This is what testing and experimentation are for. Have some fun, go mess around with the game yourself. But see, after I fast travel once, now I've only got 1, 2, 3. This one didn't spawn 4, 5, 6. And if I were to fast travel again and again and again, those spawns would be reduced back down to 2. So we fast traveled one more time, we run back in, and we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, see, we're gradually losing our extra spawns that we've gained. And of course, I'm going to show you how to do this all from scratch. I'm going to show you all the principles that goes into this spawner overloading glitch. Applications for this are anywhere where a single spawner can spawn multiple species in different locations. Where those could be in the game, I mean, it's a big game, it's a big city, but I know for sure Charmander is one of the targets that people are going to be most interested in, Tepig as well. And, you know, Shiny Lucario never hurt anybody out of this. And because it's not as AFK friendly, it's actually a nice little bonus for the people who enjoy playing the game, as opposed to having their controller play the game for them. Not that I haven't done some controller playing the game for me as well. I'm no holy saint, but you know, I much prefer the shinies that I hunted myself to the ones I woke up and found waiting for me in my crab traps. All right, so we've booted up on Switch 2. We're gonna get some nice 60 FPS gameplay action as I walk you guys through how to set up this 7 spawn overload situation. Of course, I already have it set up on my Switch 1, but you know, I want to maximize Charmanders per hour. If I'm going to get that alpha, I'm going to need as many chances as I can get. So having 2 consoles going, they call it multi-hunting, folks. But anyway, first thing we need to do when you get started is fly to this Pokemon Center, Centrico Pokemon Center, and we're going to use that Pokemon Center. We're going to need to black out as part of the process, and we need to be close to Area 20, so we want to make sure this is the last Pokemon Center we've used. And then we want to go right over to this bench here, and we want to sleep twice if it's day, once if it's night. We want to start this process at the beginning of a fresh day, because night is shorter than day in Legends ZA, and we need as much time as possible. And if a day-night rollover happens while we're doing this, it could mess up our plan. Remember, we need to mess with 7 spawners at once in order to make this happen, and it can be very finicky, so you really need every extra minute. All right, it's daytime. We've healed at the Pokemon Center. It's time to go. So as expected, over here right now, we've just got 1 Lucario and 1 Tepig. We've only got 2 spawns, and Lucario and Tepig are basically the worst 2 to lure. All they do is use Sword Stance and Focus Energy, just like that. They stand still, they don't chase you. It's very annoying. What we're looking for is lizards and hippos. We want Charmanders and Hippowdons. Those guys are like nice, well-trained cows. They will follow you anywhere. It's much easier to lure them where you need them to go. But we see a Lucario, I'm out. I am so out. And the fastest way to refresh him is just a quick fly to Centrico Plaza. We'll pop in. All right, we got Hippo. That's big, and that's one of the spawners we want him to be on. We want him to either be on this spawner or this spawner, because those are the furthest away from the door we're aiming for. And this Lucario, not super important to us right now. We can pull him with us just because, but the most important thing is the Hippo. We're manipulating these 4 spawns right here first, and then once we get those locked in, we'll handle the 3 spawns over here by this door. So we've got our Hippo aggroed. Once he starts running, we're just going to run at normal speed, so he kind of stays a little bit behind us. And all of these Pokemon have what's called a leash, and we are going to break it. See, he's going to hit a point where he's forced to turn around because he got too far away from his origin spawner, and at that point, you need to run out of the door to make sure that combat is ended, and then you need to save. And by doing that and then resetting, that Hippowdon's origin point is going to be changed from where his spawner was to his location when we saved. And by doing that, we're going to be able to move them incrementally all the way over to that door, as far away from the spawner as we can possibly get them. So I pop back inside. There's our Hippowdon. I'm going to bait him. We can bring the Lucario too, but like I said, it's not super important we bring the Lucario. I'm just going to get Hippowdon as close as I can to the door, and that is about perfect. And I'm going to save right there. And then I'm going to reset. That should be good in terms of breaking his leash. We've moved him pretty far from his spawner. But just in case, I like to get him right up next to the door to really maximize that distance. So I'm going to see if I can get him to like run after me as I walk out the door. Oh, that's perfect. He just used double edge. He's going to be right up on it. We're going to save. All right, so now his leash is sufficiently broken. And so now we need to move on to part 2, which I call sending the signal. So what we've done is we've moved Hippowdon far enough away from his spawner that the spawner could reasonably spawn another Pokemon, but it needs to get the okay that like the player has moved far enough away or something like that. But the spawner basically needs to get an okay signal that the player is also far enough away that like next time it comes back, it's like, oh yeah, the player left. That means this time we got to spawn a new Pokemon. So we're going to put a pin down where our Pokemon was, and we're going to move about 65 to 70 units away from our Pokemon. We want to be outside the 50 unit spawn radius, but inside the 70 unit despawn radius. And I'm going to go to 66 and I'm going to save there. All right, so we're loaded back in, and now this zone should be able to spawn 3 Pokemon in it. We have the Hippowdon that we saved over here by the door. We have one of the spawns from the second spawner. And then we have another spawn, but this one isn't that good because it's way too close to the door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to our Hippowdon. I'm going to run pretty far away to the point where I see that guy turn around. See, he's still chasing us, but I really don't like that close by spawner. It makes it really hard to get the distances right and make another one spawn. So we need that guy to book it back to his zone. He'll get far enough away eventually that he'll disappear. And it's also really important that we never get more than 70 units away from the one that we have saved by the door, because then he will also despawn, right? So we're managing 2 different radiuses. That guy's back. There should be a way to get him to completely despawn and then go to a different spot. Let's see. Now that he's back there. All right, now he looks to be gone. Let's go and check. And we could just reload the save too, right? But this can be a little better. Okay, there we go. Now we've got a Charmander and one of the far back spawners. That's a good one. So we're going to let this guy follow us. And then he should get to about the lamppost and then hit his turnaround radius. So we're going to immediately head over here and then save his position. Get outside the door, hit save. And then when we load in, his origin point will have moved to where he was when we hit save. Yeah, there we go. Our Hippowdon's there chilling. Lucario's there chilling. And our Charmander is chilling. So now we need to finish breaking this guy's leash by getting him over to the door. That's a good little guy. I'm going to pop out. Oh, he moved right up on it. That's my dog, man. He is right up on that door. So like always, we save his position at the door. We're going to close. And then I'm going to do the runaway to 65 units to quote unquote send the signal, as I'm calling it, because I think the cumulative distance will be enough. It's a little dodgy. It's kind of hard to tell based on where anyone spawned in at. And we did not get another spawn. So what do we do if we don't get another spawn? We reset. And there's 2 things that we can do. We can either move them closer to the door, or we can move ourselves back a little further. Moving them closer to the door is less risky because remember, if we go outside of 70 units away from those guys, they will despawn permanently. But I can pretty safely go out to like 68 and hit a save. Like 70 is the point where they can disappear. At 68, I'm pretty confident they're going to be okay. So I'm just going to inch back a little bit. Then we'll see if we can get that 3rd spawn now over by the Centrico Plaza fly point. And indeed we do. We've gotten a Lucario in our nice position over here by the tree. I didn't move 70 away, did I? No, we're good. And remember, we don't want Lucario. So I'm gonna reboot. You have 2 options here. You can reboot, or you can try to play with the radius to try and get that guy to despawn and come in a different spot as a different species. Remember, we're trying to fish for a particular species. We want a Charmander or a Hippowdon because they're easy to lead. And we also want to fish for a particular spawn location because there's 4 potential spawn locations, and we want to prefer the ones that are farthest away because that maximizes our chances of stacking up those spawns and overloading the spawners as much as possible. So we got another Lucario. I'm going to run away from that Lucario. This guy is, once again, not a concern to us. We're only concerned about the Pokemon that spawned back here. That guy is way too close. Using that spawner has given me nothing but trouble. And I actually have to run pretty far away from that to get him to disappear. Okay, this time we got T-Pig under the tree. I'm not a Tepig fan in terms of when we're luring these spawns. He sits there and he uses focus energy nonstop. Same as Lucario. Lucario just sits there and uses Swords Dance, and it's a massive pain in the butt. So I'm just gonna, once again, run far enough away from that guy. And you could put down a pin on approximately where you saw the Pokemon just to make sure that you're doing that 70-50 just right. Like this guy right here. And this guy right here, once again, it's a Charmander, which is nice, but he's just too close. So we gotta do the old 70-50 on this Charmander. So we'll get out to 70. That should make him disappear. Work our way back in and see what spawn we get. Okay, this time we got a Charmander in a far back spot, which I'm much happier with. So this is a usable spawn. We're gonna grab him, and we're gonna just bait him back to the spot, just like we've been doing. Is our Charmander still over here? Did we lose one? No. He's still there. We're good. So we got to get Charmander and Hippowdon back. And this Lucario's messing with us. This is where things can get a little hectic once you get like 4 or 5 spawns all at once. But if we can get Charmander chasing us, we should be good. We'll just move at a nice, easy pace. And then once we get to the lamppost, I'm going to quick run to the door and save. Because that's about his leash length. And we pop back in. And then we want to fully break his leash by getting him up to the door. And it's a Charmander, so it's usually nice and easy. Yeah, these guys, see, they just kind of come when you call them. They're like well-trained dogs. All right, they're all right up next to the door. So the origin points are set. We're going to close. Reopen. And now we got to send our signal, right? Remember, this is the flow. First, we break the leash. Then we send the signal. Then we fish for the spawn. And then finally, we're going to lock them in once we get all 4 spawns from that area up against our door here. So we've got 3 guys here. Drop a pin just to be sure. Yeah, that's just about right. We'll go back to like 67, 68, 67. That's a save. And now our spawner should be primed once again to give us our 4th spawn. And once we have 4, that's when it's time to lock it in. All right, there's our 2 Charmanders and a Hippo. They're just chilling. Remember, we got to make sure we don't get 70 units away from them to despawn them. We pop in over here, and we did not get a spawn. So what do we do when we don't get a spawn? Well, we reset, first and foremost. And then we can either adjust the 3 of them at the doorway, or we can inch a little bit further from our signal sending position. I'm feeling a little risky. I'm going to go to 68. And then I'm going to save. And let's see if 68 is far enough for the signal. All that, like, if we're trying this in different areas with different spawners, there's going to be different sweet spots for these things. I know in the testing for the alphas, it was only around 50 to 60 units to get the leash break and respawn to happen. But it's, you know, it's going to vary. And I mean, I've been doing this since 11 p.m. yesterday, and it's 1:41 p.m. today. And I have not slept. So, I hope I've learned something in that time. We went back to 68 and we did not get a spawn. I'm going to be a little risky here. I could be risking a despawn. I'm going out to 69. And if 69 doesn't work, then I will nudge them up against the door a little more. All right, we didn't go far enough to lose one, did we? Nope, we've still got all 3. It's a good thing we put our pin a little bit behind them, you know? That way, like, 69 for us is... Oh! Look at that. We've gotten our 4th spawn. That's an alpha T-Pig, but he spawned in the poo-poo location, right? And when they spawn in the poo-poo location, we reset. We don't like that spot. We want him to be far back, right? Because that's how we get the spawner to overload. That's how we get it to, like, allow itself to spawn more than 1 Pokemon at a time after we lock it in. But now we know our distance is right to go get that 4th spawn. So now, once again, what are we doing? We're fishing. We're fishing for that perfect spawn that we can lure over here. We got Lucario in the poo-poo spot. I'm resetting. And remember, there's really no difference between resetting for this or doing the 50 to 70 like mess, but we've got so many Pokemon back there, and it's really not that long of a run-up that, like, I'd rather not deal with having to lure all the Pokemon back to the door again after doing a bunch of 50, 70 runbacks on the spawners. I'd rather just leave these guys right here. As long as I move pretty quick, they won't chase me too far. And then eventually we'll get a spawn back in a good spot with a good species. Once again, I don't like T-Pig. We bail. And I know I'm about to get some comments like, T-Pig? That's Tepig. Guys, it's a teacup pig. It's a teacup pig. And I've called him Tepig many times in my life. I probably called him Tepig in the intro. But right now, at this moment in time, he's T-Pig. Okay, fishing for spawns. What did we get? Another T-Pig. Not what we want to see. Honestly, this fishing for spawns part is probably the longest part of the process. Once you get a good species in the right spot, like, things go pretty smoothly. But if you're having bad luck with the spawns that you get and the spawners that they pop in at, then things can get really tedious. I've had a couple takes of this that went up to like 40 minutes because I just couldn't get them to cooperate. It's a pretty finicky ordeal, but I mean, honestly, I think it's worth the setup. Once you've got it and you're committed to the hunt, then, you know, you're 3.5 times more efficient than somebody who's just hunting, you know, Charmander off the 2 spawners. And that's a pretty big increase. I don't know. 3.5x. People would kill for that. Never thought I would want to see hippo spawns. Back when I was hunting this Charmander 2x2, every time I got double hippo, I wanted to jump off a bridge. But now, I need the hippos, man. I need the hippos. This isn't Gen 4 OU. I'm not anti-hippo in this case. T-Pig at a good spawner. I could take it. I mean, T-Pig will lure. It's just, like, slow. But to be honest, is it slower than this? You know, you might be able to make a case that it's actually better to just take your Lucarios or your T-Pigs when you get them, because even though it's annoying to lure them, if you get caught in a reset loop like this, you look kind of dumb, like me, who's been doing this for like almost 10 minutes. This is where I get like a random shiny, because I've been in here. I've literally been in this area doing this nonsense for like, what, 13 hours? I don't have the shiny charm, so it would be full odds. Hippo, Alpha Lucario by the tree. You know, Alpha Lucario I think we can work with, as long as we can aggro him without getting too far away. Let's go, Doofus. Yeah. All right, he's going to get to the light post. We got to save. Just book it outside. And we'll finish breaking his leash. Come here, buddy. Oh, he does not want to move. Oh, no. See, he's doing the swords dance bit. There he goes. Now Charmander's not down here anymore. Hey, come on. All right, I'm gonna save on that because they're all pretty close to the door, and then I can just do one more adjustment. There we go. Here's all our boys. Get them right up next to the door. Come on, friends. Come on, friends. We're in the last leg of the first half. All right, let's put down a pin now that we've loaded back in. And let's go do our final step, which is the lock-in. So the first part of the lock-in is just sending one more signal to basically like update the spawners and finalize the overload. So right when we get to about 68, we're going to save here. We're going to close. And now, in theory, when we load in, all 4 of those spawn locations should populate after we faint ourselves. So we're going to go let the Pokemon beat us up, and then we're going to go run back to that point. And if we did it right, all 4 spawners should populate now. And that will persist long enough for us to do the same thing to the other 3 spawners using the opposite door. So the other 3 spawners are over here on this side, and we're going to use the opposite door to basically do the same thing. We're gonna break their leashes. We're gonna send a signal to allow for a respawn. Then we're gonna go fish for the farthest spawn away and try to get it as a species that's easy to lure. And then once we've done that 3 times, we'll be at the cap of 7. And then we faint one more time, and then we should be good to go. We should have all 7 spawns overloaded on the spawners so we can hunt at maximum efficiency. So this is my moment of truth. Does fish and leash theory actually work? We've got 1, 2, 3 spawns, but hold on. 68. I'm just gonna creep up to 69. Just maybe. Hopefully this doesn't cost us a spawn. That would set me back another 5 minutes. And I'd like this video to be under 30. It's taking me longer than 30, but you know, you're benefiting from my suffering, right? I've been the one suffering here, trying to come up with an easy, repeatable method for you guys to maximize these spawners, because to be honest, hunting for Alpha Charmander any other way is kind of Mickey Mouse. We lost a hippo. We pushed our luck. We went too far. We should have adjusted the door. When I saw it was at 68, I knew I should have tweaked the door. All right, we played with fire and we got burned, which means we need to go back to fishing for our 4th spawn again, because I kind of played myself. It looks like we did get a duped spawn for the other spawner, though, which is kind of nice. That makes our lives easier next time. Yeah, but we got no other spawn over here. Well, maybe that's the hippo we lost. And all 4 of those guys are from the Centrico spawners. You know what? Let's tweak the door. Give me that sweet spot. Give me all 4 right up on it. Yeah. That's it. If I'm gonna get all 4 spawns, that's gotta be it. Yeah, they're all right up on it. So let's put a pin. Make sure it's a little bit behind them. It is. We'll go out to 68 again. None of them should despawn. I mean, those guys are like as close to the door as they could possibly be. 68. We've sent our signal. All 4 of the boys survived. We're gonna do a 5th and 6th spawn check. There's number 5. We expect him to be there. No number 6, but that might not matter. Let's try fainting. Starting to get close to sunset, so I really hope we did. I see 1, I see 2, I see 3, I do not see 4, so we still haven't gotten it. Dare I try 69? I think I gotta. We're trying 69. 1 step. Can 1 step make all the difference? Okay, all 4 are still there. That's a good sign. Okay, count the spawns. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got him, baby. Oh, that was it. Oh, that was finally the attempt. 69 and a feint has gotten us all 5 spawns. So we are ready to move on to the next phase, which means we can actually just go flip it to night. We can just head over to this bench, flip it to night, and then back to day, and we should still see all 5 of the guys there. And so now our only problem is getting 2 more, and 2 is easy. We've got all the tools. And flip it back to day. We should see 1, 2, 3, 4. And last but certainly not least, 5. And number 5 is already in the perfect position. It's a hippo at the back spawner. Hippo, follow me. You guys know the drill. Except this time we're going to the other door. We're going to get him as far as he goes. That's about as far as he goes. He just turned around. We're breaking his leash. All right, so we've got our 4 spawns. We've got our potential 5th guy. We've got his leash broken. We're just going to get him right up next to the door. As soon as you see his nose sticking out of the doorway, that's like premium spot. We'll take this out to like 68. Hit a save. Send our all clear signal to the spawner that it's time to generate us an extra hippo or lizard. Count the spawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got a Lucario in this spot. I'm honestly going to take it. I think I can handle luring 1 Lucario right now. Yeah, as long as he goes into run mode. That's what we want to see. And he stopped the sword stance. Thanks, stupid. Yep, yell about it. Run around the rock. Please. Sword stance again. You see, I needed to do it once. You see this nonsense? Okay, he's finally actually getting his legs going. That's a save sesh. All right, now we break his leash. I don't remember which one is which, so I'm just going to get all 3 up to the door. Let's go, guys. Oh, the extreme speed was nice. I appreciate that. Double edge was nice. I appreciate that. Let's get that other Lucario. I'm saving right here. They're super close. I know this has been a journey. I don't know how much of the stuff in the middle where I was like resetting for individual encounter spots I will keep, because some of it is just not useful. It's me just resetting the game going, I hope this is the one. Oh, that was huge. Okay. Save right there. And that might work. Let's go back to 68. Let's put a pin down. We only need 1 more spawn. 67. Will our signal make it through? I could have had this done 2 hours ago if this stuff would cooperate the way that it seems like it did, until I had to do more testing and find out that there's some other weird interaction. But I feel pretty good about like spawner distance, like fishing for a particular spawner distance being like the path to consistency, at least with this one. He says as he does not get another spawn. Well, we only went to 66. And we didn't really tweak the door that much. It's just so risky to go out to 68, 69. I don't want to lose a guy. All right, count the spawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look at that Lucario. Let's go, man. Let's go. 68 was all we needed. Follow me to the door. Follow me to the door. Don't use sword stance. We're almost free, man. He's cooking. He's cooking. It's time to go through and save. Get me through there. I gotta save before he gets too far away. If I didn't have to sleep so desperately after this, you'd probably catch me on twitch.tv/papa_hefe streaming this. Maybe that's a tomorrow deal. There's my Lucario. Look at all these spawns. Have you ever seen this many spawns in this zone? I know you haven't. I know you haven't, not until today. Holy moly, but how do I know which one's the one? I gotta get them all to the door. Okay, that's like literally the whole family is at the door. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 7 is probably in there somewhere. I'm gonna go back to 66. I'm gonna save, and we're gonna try the blackout. There's a very real chance that we black out here and we get all 7 spawns. I genuinely believe that. And if not, I'll creep him up a little closer to the door. And then we'll try again. Knock me out. Let's do it. We've done it. Get ready to count the spawns. What's the name of the count from Sesame Street that counts? Is he just the count? Is he count? I'm literally like drawing a blank. I'm gonna have to Google this after we're done. Okay, spawn counting time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, there's not even 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's burger. We did not get the situation we needed. We might have to lure over the T-Pig. Might have to get all 7 in front of the door. We have to assemble all 7 Dragon Balls, all 7 Chaos Emeralds, all 7 of Bilbo's Baggins. Because there's 7 in there right now. There's 100% 7 in there right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The T-Pig. What happens if I run back to like 80 and then go in? Like, does it respawn 6 or does it respawn 7? Because I'll start from 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my god. Okay. Guys, we discovered a new technique that doesn't involve blacking out. It's once you've got 7 spawns, run away. I'm saving. No way. Are they locked in? Dude, I swear. I'm gonna go try the bench reset. This is literally the final gambit. If this bench reset works, and I run back there and there's 7 brand new spawns, A, the video's wrapped, which I'm hype about. And B, that means I get to get hunting, and I get to get editing, and I get to go to bed. I'll save right here. Here we go. For all the marbles. Do we have our 7 spawn soft reset set up and ready to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're all there. Oh my god, we've done it, guys. I cannot thank you enough for going along on this journey. Trust me, when I started this video, you can go back, watch the intro again. I would love it if you watch the video back because that only serves to benefit me. But let me tell you, I was confident that I had this figured out after all the testing I did last night. And then I tried it again. And I learned that I only had so much figured out. But that's the beauty of testing. And now we've demonstrated that it's possible live. We've given you all kinds of visual examples and tips that you can use to try to replicate this Charmander hunting situation for yourself. And man, if one of you guys gets a shiny alpha Charmander in the comments, please let me know. I would love to hear about it. And if you can think of anywhere else where this would be useful, if you find any other locations in the game where you can get away with this spawner manipulation to the point where you can start overloading particular spawners, please try it out. Please test it. My number one thing that I encourage people to do is to experiment and try things. We only get new Pokemon games ever so often. And it doesn't take that long for the optimal strategies for things to be solved. And honestly, that's my favorite part of new Pokemon games, is when things are not yet solved and I get to do stuff like this. If it sounds like I've had a bad time, you may have misinterpreted this situation, because I am having a blast. And now every time I reset the game, I get to look at 7 Pokemon that could potentially be Charmander. And so can you. Hot tip. The first 2 things I would look at are Chikorita, Bulbasaur, and Totodile, Squirtle. Those 2 spawners, I believe, are the same kind of format. And they're also bench adjacent. So you could probably find a little AFK setup where you get all these spawners over here populated if you put all these tools to the test. And I would love to hear about it. I'd love to see you make a video about it. I'd love to see you get a shiny from it. So please let me know. Next time you see me, I'm probably going to be running this route, looking for a shiny alpha Charmander. I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.